All right, everybody. So I've done a deep dive, previous this video, on physical health in its history and how it ties into slightly mental health. I'm going to do a shorter version, a little bit more practical in the sense of how we'd understand it today. So we'd say that the loss of physical health is the loss of the ability to see things as they are, which is experience things as they are, or experiencing things as they are. This meaning that we can be in the presence of a really nice, caring person and misunderstand that and treat them as if they're not. In doing so, we discourage this really nice person. So we all have been in relationships at some point where we can now look back and see that we weren't seeing things the best and we did kind of a disservice to the person that we're in a relationship with, and we wish to do better, or we want them to take us back now that we know better, and therefore we have a greater understanding of the experiences that we were having at the time based on this reflection. So we'd say this reflective quality, I guess, has a piece of this physical health in it. We now can see things as they were. The idea is we want to push that closer and closer into the present so we can see things as they are. And in this way, we have a kind of gap between the thing that we're seeing, how we're seeing it now, and the thing that is actually happening, which generally has this need of time to happen or time to be experienced, then to go back to the exact same thing. Then we get the riches in this past experience. This is the exact same idea that goes along with quotes. We have a quote, we think it's beautiful at the time, we go through a lot more life experiences, we look back at that quote, it has a deeper meaning. Did the quote change? It did not. It is the exact same. However, our ability to pierce reality, if you will, has had more depth. Therefore, we get more out of it. In fact, the truth is any single quote has a book behind it, and therefore we instinctually know that there's so much greater in those few words than there seems to be physically on a page. This being said, again, this shows the kind of quality of physical health. The thing itself is not what it's all about. There's something greater behind that thing. And being able to see into this is kind of a way of being centered in ourselves. We are having the experience as is, therefore we do not need it secondhand by book, secondhand by movie, secondhand by media. We need it primarily through ourselves, therefore giving true value to it because it has been our experience. And just having experience does not mean that we have really put it into context. We can have lots of half experiences, which is an experience with only the knowledge we have now. And again, with greater amounts of experience, we can put that more into perspective. This is the difference between a young child, generally, and a older grandparent who has seen life and how it has changed over the years, and therefore can center a little bit more specifically on what truly life is about. That's generally where the idea of being elder and wisdom comes to mind. So we'd also say that there are certain gaps of information between things that limits the seeing it as it is. So my greatest way to explain this, because I think it's pretty straightforward, but that's being said from my own specific experience, is the fact that we can look at the body from the perspective of massage therapy. We could also look at the body from the perspective of naturopathy. There you go, Jamaican English. We can also look at the body from the sense of chiropractic. We can look at the body in the sense of fluid, liquid, muscle, bone, joint, electricity, nerves, connective tissue. All these things are ways of looking at the body, but not quite the body itself. Therefore, these things all being put together must more directly embody the physical thing. It is the thing as it is, right? It is just that complex. We then can't separate the mind from the body, from the emotions. We'd say these are just half pieces of the true puzzle, and we'd have to find a way of connecting these things. And as we connect them, we're more able to then participate with a reality that is closer to reality, if you will. And this is, I guess, embodied in also if we're more into the emotional side of things, the ability for a person to cry at the blossoming and the decay of a flower. It's just a flower. There are many flowers. Each season they come back again. However, there is a striking beauty in it that can bring somebody to tears if they can directly perceive this thing. It then is seen more for what it is. Maybe the passing of time, maybe the letting go of grief, maybe the pursuit of something new and beautiful. However, we would say that every time we do get a direct experience, a thing as it is, we then pursue actions in a different way. So this is how the physical part comes in. Now having our new experience and embodying it, knowing that this is a thing, we look at it differently. Our mind solves differently for the what used to be the same thing, and our actions become different. They either slow, they become more thoughtful, they become more expressed, they become more deep, all these kinds of things. Another interesting thing or way to look at it, I'm giving multiple perspectives, is that of our Kung Fu movies. So back in the day, we'd see the swordsman, samurai, ninja, any of these things in the archetypical structure, if you will, and they'd be fighting somebody or really paying attention to the thing that's in front of us. Somebody would throw a dart from the side and they'd still catch it. This is different than our idea of focus today, where we'd say focus a direct movement forward. This is the idea of that gorilla or monkey walking in the background, people not noticing while counting the dribbles of a basketball or things like that. This is our specific attention, which I think is less powerful than our general attention, which is that ability to still be doing this here, but be aware of the dart coming here. I think in that sense, we are more in our bodies as opposed to our specific accomplishments. We grow slower. Instead of piercing through the, let's call it, fabric of reality, we press against it with our palms, therefore having more surface area and gaining greater expressions of all the things we can do, not in a specific area, but in general as we go through life. I think that's going to be it for different ways of understanding physical health and its expressions. Again, these are just expressions, and what I'm really talking about is the thing that connects them all as one, the unity of this thing, and we are saying this unity really is the physical health aspect of our emotional system, which is mental, physical, and emotional health as one, as always guided by self-care, which is that of seeking of the improvement of self to the degree that we're able to give to others ourselves from abundance, therefore never depleting. There you go. All right, have a great day.